Hello everybody, CW here. I started to make some changes on the 454 and I got a couple parts in, so I want to show you some of the changes that I've been making and I'm going to make, and talk a little bit about my plans here. Okay, first off, I'm going to try an Optic on here. I don't want to put a scope on it, although I do have a 1-power Scout scope. I don't really want to because it's going to make it giant, big, and bulky. I'd like to keep it small and light. My first choice, my first thought was the Bushnell TRS 25, which is a nice little small dot. I really like it on rifles and carbines. It's not really appropriate on pistols. It just sticks up funny. It looks different. I like the reflex sights on pistols. But I do have that PC carbine that has a Swamp Fox on it, reflex, that I could throw the TRS 25 on and take the Swamp Fox off to put on here. So I do have that option for $0 as you know, things to try. So I'll show you that in a minute. I got a used NOE base in, and I'll show you some close-ups. I'm not going to zoom right here, but I got that in. And I also got in some leather wraps for the lever. Now, some people like these, some people don't. I do like them more for the function than for the look, because when you're in the woods hunting with these in the wintertime, the levers, anything you touch metal gets cold. So having a wrap on here really does not, it feels nice. I don't wear gloves all the time, so this is nice. Along the same lines with the scope, these are obviously cut and designed around open sights. Cut meaning the drop and the dimensions on the rear buttstock. So I threw this on. I'm not in love with these either, butt cuff things, but they serve a purpose and they can be okay. So this one here has a pad in it to raise the comb. So I threw that on. We'll see how I like it. We'll see how it feels. Right now, it feels okay. Not in love with the look, but it feels okay. And I threw my old school sling on here just to have the handling with the sling on, because that's what it'll wear. So let's take a look at, let's finish up with this leather wrap. It's pretty easy. These people sell a lot of these things. They're pretty inexpensive. I think it was under 20 bucks. You get two. Here's what the leather piece looks like. You can buy them in different colors. I chose black and brown. And I ended up putting the dark brown on. Comes with enough material to do two. Comes with the pins, needles, leather needles that you need. And link to the website, little instructions with video on how to do it. So pretty good. I recommend it. I put it on a little different than they called for. They call for just stitching it up like you're lacing a shoe. And I'll reiterate the one tip you get in the video. You can really horse on this cord, this sinew they call it, deer sinew. It's strong stuff, and the tighter you get it and pull on it, the better fitment you're going to get with your leather wrap on your loop. So I started it different than they said, because I didn't want these corners to lift up. So I started it backwards from what they said. So I came from inside rather than from outside. And then at the end, I decided I had so much cordage left over, I decided to come back down and wrap it over everything else, which is the additional wraps you see there. You may or may not like that. You can end it back here and tie it, and you'd be fine. You don't need to do what I did. I just chose to do this because I wanted to get back up here, create a little bit more strength in the whole thing, and I wanted to have an extra wrap up here because these edges were starting to flail, and I didn't like the look of it. So I tied it off, pulled it really tight, stitched it, pulled all the stitches, pulled it really tight all the way down, tied it, double knotted it, wrapped it, overhand knot, wrapped it, overhand knot, wrapped it, overhand knot, wrapped it, overhand knot, wrapped it again, double overhand knot, wrapped it again, double overhand knot, still had like 3 or 4 inches left over, and tied it. I'll probably put a drop of super glue on that sinew knot. I don't know if it's going to do anything because the sinew is very waxy. It may not do a thing at all, but it's something that I've always done on cord, and it usually holds it pretty tight. It's not going to hurt anything if it don't work. Just a drop of super glue. But anyway, there it is. And you know, what you get out of it is it just, you know, it gives you some cushion, and it shields you from the metal that's cold when you're outside. So there you go. I did that. Under here, if you can look right there. Now I will zoom in right here because I want you to see this. I'm not going to be able to show you how I install this because of YouTube rules, but I'm going to try and see if this is going to be okay. I'll come back with some stills of what I'm doing. So let me zoom all the way in and then let you look in here. And right there, see that little round hole? See it there in the slot? That's a drilled and tapped hole for a base, yeah, either a pick rail or a dedicated optic mount to be drilled and tapped, to be screwed right to the barrel. It's drilled and tapped from the factory. So let's take this off rear sight and get a look exactly what that is. And I'll show you that mount again in close, and we'll show you what I'm going to do. Stand by. All right. Always use some kind of a brass drift pin. Don't be using the steel. I know you're tempted, but don't do it. Get brass. There's a number of, where's my other one here? I don't know where it went. It's supposed to be right there. Oh, here it is. A number of different tools you can get. Here's a real drift for brass. It's for sights. It's steel with a brass pin. Does a really nice job. Here's just a piece of brass pin. You can buy brass rod, make your own. Go that route. Also remember, these things go on right to left. In the right side to the left. So when you're driving them out, drive them out left to right. Otherwise, you're going to have problems. They can be tight. This one's got some burrs. Got some big burrs on there, so we'll have to dress those up. But there you go. You can see the drilled and tapped holes for a scope base. Now, if you're saying, hey, that looks familiar, I've seen that pattern before. You're right, you have. Here is a TC 92A. This is for the Thompson Center Contenders. And it is the same positioning. I don't know if it's the same thread. Let's see if it's the same thread. Let's see if it's the same thread for the screws. That bit might be too big. Let's see if it's the same thread. Yeah, it's even the same thread for the screws. So that will work, but, and it's a big but, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's running downhill. The barrel tapers, so it's running downhill. You may or may not have enough elevation in your scope to overcome that. So, although this could work, know that it's not ideal. Okay? You get a proper base, and they're not that expensive, so don't really freak out. You know, 30 bucks or so you can have a base. Which is what I did here. This base is tapered. So when it goes on, and this one goes on, of course, with Torx bits, and they're little 10s, not the 15s. And I'm just going to screw one on because I'm not really supposed to be showing you this. You see that it tapers. Now it's lifted up because not all the screws are in. But when you get them all in there, it tapers so that it's flat. Now the issue I have, or I may have with this, is its overall height. I like things to be slammed as low as I can get them. So what I did was I ordered this base, and all I have is pictures because I haven't received it yet. I should have it next week. Georgia Boy contacted me in one of my videos and said that he had this base as well for one of his, and that he found it to be quite high, and he thought maybe I wouldn't care for that. So as soon as he told me that, I started looking back through my saving pictures, saving video sites, and I went to that guy there that you see, and I ordered his base. And as you can see, that base is proprietary for a reflex sight. I ordered it for an RMR because that Swamp Fox takes an RMR footprint, and that's what I wanted to use on that ultimately. So we should have that in a few days. In the meantime, I think I'm going to mount this just to try it, because I'd like to get to the range before that base comes, just to try a few shots. So all right, let me degrease these holes and mount that base, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, there is that all mounted up, and it does look pretty clean, and it's long so that you can put a scope on there. But we're just going to use a reflex or that Bushnell dot. So let me go get that and come right back. All right, it looks like I already mounted that Bushnell on the Ruger PC carbine. So I already had this out and free, ready to go on something else. So there we go. This is a Swamp Fox. I don't remember what model this is off the top of my head, but I know it's the Shake Awake version. So it's at the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it. But it's a nice dot. I've used it a little bit on a couple different guns, and I like it. So there we go. It's a red dot, Shake Awake, good field of view, and it doesn't look too awful high. So we'll see. I do have that other one coming anyway, so I will be swapping it on, because you can see we've got a good, well, we got a good 3/8 to half an inch above the barrel. And I can't imagine that that base is going to be much thicker than that base right there. So we'll eliminate that whole thickness of that pick rail. Slam it down on the barrel, much better. You know, much distance, much less here. You know, just overall handling is going to be nicer. So there we go. I got it mounted up enough that I can try it out, sight it in. This will allow me to stretch it out past 25 yards. I can go to the 50-yard range and shoot this. So there we go. Just a quick video update on what I've got and what I've been doing with this 454 here at the house. God bless everybody. Stay tuned. More to come. CW out.